Hey guys, so it's an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Draven updated complete guide. So recently I made a commentary guide about him, and now we're doing a follow-up with the complete guide, or rather the updated complete guide. Continuing on with our Christmas daily releases, or the Christmas period, I should say. So now, what do I think about Draven? Now, honestly, in like majority of tier lists that you see, Draven is always like, most people think he's like A tier, or even I think I put him in A tier as well, or maybe I even put him in B tier, I'm not even very sure. But really, I think that Draven, you have a very biased view, because basically, like, out of every 100 matches, you're only gonna see like maybe one Draven in every 100 matches, because he's very unpopular, and most people who play Draven are Draven one-tricks, because Draven is really difficult to play and is very mechanically demanding. Now, to that point, I'm definitely nowhere near the best Draven player. I'm just like a alright player at Draven. I wouldn't even say I'm good. I would say I'm maybe a little bit above average. Like, you will see later in the gameplay, I miss like a lot of axes, and like Draven is very mechanically demanding, because you have to continuously juggle his axes to keep his damage up, but at the same time, your axes make your movement predictable and you can get caught out very easily. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is, Draven is a very strong character, and he's very, very good if you one-trick him. Like, one-tricks can make him seem absolutely broken, but people who don't know how to play him can make him seem like the weakest AD carry ever, and you're just gonna be feeding non-stop. I'm somewhere in between, like, the rare case where I'm not a one-trick, but I'm not like a complete noob at Draven. But anyways, enough talk about Draven. I feel like if you're a one-trick, he can be like S+ tier. But if you're new to Draven, he's gonna be like D tier kind of story. Regardless, let's just jump in straight into his build, because I already did a previous complete guide on Draven, and I'm going to actually link that both in the description as well as in the card, so you can actually see what his skills, abilities, and leveling orders are. Because although I made that video like months and months ago, maybe even a year, it's one of the first videos I made, but everything I talk about in the skills and leveling order is still completely relevant. But now we're just updating his build. So this is basically the build that I'm using for Draven now, and I'm gonna get into it in a minute. But before that, I'm just gonna briefly flash a few other builds that I know do exist, but I just simply do not think are as good as this one. So first up is the defensive Draven build, where you pretty much just go all like lifesteal items and defensive items. This used to be very popular at one point in time, like where you go for like Bloodthirster, Bork, you know, Spirit Visage, Death's Dance, and GA. Like, it's a really, really defensive Draven build, and I do know that some people enjoy it, because some people feel like Draven's base damage is good enough and you just need to survive to just continuously auto attack. I disagree. I think he needs a little bit more damage. Now, there's also this build, which is the old Draven build, where you go Bloodthirster, IE, and then you go for two of these like attack speed items, like the Rapid Fire Cannon and the Phantom Dancer, then you go for GA. It doesn't include any armor penetration, because some people actually think that Draven is so strong he doesn't even need armor penetration, and then in this build there isn't any armor penetration at all as well. But personally, what I think is that Draven does actually need armor penetration, because if you reach to a stage of the game where you're building your second last item, I do think you need armor penetration, because a lot of champions will have armor by that point in time. Anyways, let's get into the build proper. So I will say that most people in the current meta agree that Draven's best build includes Bloodthirster, Infinity Edge, and Solar Recharge build. But what I will actually put out there is that majority of people don't agree what order you build it in. So some people actually think, or I'll just go over what I think first. So personally, what I do is I start off with BF Sword. So I'll go for BF Sword as my first item, this item, BF Sword. Then I will build into Bloodthirster, then Boots. Then I'll go into Infinity Edge, completing that from the BF Sword that I already have. Then I'll go for Charge Blade, then I'll go for Moral Reminder and GA. Now, this is for obvious reasons. So first up, Bloodthirster, just for the raw attack damage and the lifesteal. Draven, all these builds, you know, Bloodthirster, IE for just more attack damage and more crit. Draven's most wanted stats are attack damage and crit. He doesn't really care so much about attack speed, but you do actually go for Charge Blade, which does actually give you attack speed and gives you 100% crit. Then of course Moral Reminder for the armor penetration and the grievous wounds. As I said, I do feel like you need armor penetration on Draven, because you will not be able to kill tanks like you will see later in the game. Actually, I'm not sure if that's the game that I was against a tank. I don't think that was the game, but I had a game where I was against an Alistar, and without the Moral Reminder, it would be impossible to kill him. So Serala's Grudge is not good on Draven, because basically the only spell he can use Serala's Grudge with is his E. So it doesn't work. E and his ult doesn't really work very well, because you don't want to use that for slow. Lastly, you go for GA, which of course gives you the revive, which is what you mainly want. When your GA is down, I generally will recommend to go for a Death's Dance. So when your GA has been popped, you can replace it with Death's Dance, because it overall just gives you more value with the Cauterized passive and all the rest of the stats. Then when GA is up, go back to GA. So, covering what the items do. So firstly, you go for BF Sword first, because you need that injection of AD at the very beginning. And then you go for the Bloodthirster, so you can complete the Bloodthirster for even more AD, some crit, and your lifesteal. Then you complete the Infinity Edge, of course, for more crit, more AD, and increased crit damage. So by this point, you have 50% crit, so every other auto attack or so is going to crit. So Infinity Edge's passive is going to be really useful. And you go for Charge Blade mainly for two reasons. Firstly, it's for the 100% crit, so when you activate your spells, you will get a stack, and it will give you an extra 25% crit chance, which you will consume to do like extra damage, and also whenever you crit, you know, and all. So this has a second use, which is the attack speed. So before I get into attack speed, Draven procs this really well, because you can spam your W, which gives you pretty much unlimited stacks of the Radiance passive, as long as you actually have mana, that is. So next is the attack speed. So what you will realize is that Draven, if he spams his W too much, he's going to run out of mana. So when you have Charge Blade completed, you don't actually have to spam W that much if you need attack speed. You mainly spam W for the movement speed, because the attack speed from Charge Blade is already very high. It makes your attack speed very, very high already. So you don't necessarily need to spam your W as much as if you've gone for another item, let's say a Phantom Dancer or a Rapid Fire Cannon. So yeah, those are the two main uses of the Slurry Charge Blade. So now, what I will say is that, as I was alluding to earlier, there are a lot of discussions about what order to build these items. Some people think that Infinity Edge first item is the way to go, like just straight up buying Infinity Edge and then going into Bloodthirster and then Charge Blade. Some people think it's IE into Charge Blade and then Bloodthirster for the lifesteal later on. And some people think it's going for the BF Sword as your first item, and then going into Bloodthirster as your second item. Not Bloodthirster, and then going into Solari Charge Blade as your second item, so BF Sword into Solari Charge Blade. And then after that, you go into Bloodthirster and then IE, or sometimes some people think it's BF Sword into Solari Charge Blade, into Infinity Edge, and then into Bloodthirster. So basically, these three items are the first three items, but the order which you build them differs from person to person. Personally, as I've covered, I like going for BF Sword into Bloodthirster, into Infinity Edge, into Solari Charge Blade. And for the boots, you can go for the defensive boots, the Merc Treads or the Plate Steel Caps. I personally think that they give the most value, because Draven already has a lot of lifesteal because he has a Bloodthirster as his first item. So I don't actually think you need Gluttonous Grease, but if you want to do it, you can go for it. Then you, if not, Merc Treads if there's a lot of CC, and Plate Steel Caps otherwise. And for the enchant, obviously, we have the Stasis enchant as the default one. You can also go for something like a Proto Belt or a QSS if you think that you need it. Otherwise, just stick to the Stasis. So, now we're going to move on to the runes and spells. Runes, obviously, you go for Conqueror. Pretty much the best rune on every ADC now, unless they add more runes in the future, which doesn't seem to be the case anytime soon. Now, personally, I like to go for Champion and Adaptive Carapace. Now, hear me out on this one. Personally, I think Draven, whether you win or lose lane, is mostly determined by whether you get the first kill or you get the first death. Now, I say that, but in the gameplay later, you will see that I actually get the first death, but I still managed to come back afterwards. But sometimes a lot of Draven games are just determining whether you kill someone first or you die first. Because if you kill someone, you cash in all your stacks. If you die, you lose half your stacks and your snowball is really affected. So, I personally go for Champion because that gives me the best chance of getting the first kill in the lane. As well as Adaptive Carapace, it doesn't give you as much value late game as Bone Plating or Hunter Titan, which is of course options as well. And in the first slot, you also have Brutal, and you also have Hunter Vampirism as your two options if you want more lifesteal or you want early game damage, but you don't want the risk of champion. So personally, I go for Adaptive Carapace because giving me an extra 50 health and giving me an extra 12 MR or armor can be the difference in whether I get the first kill or not. So really, for me, it's all about whether I can get the first kill or I have the first death. So that's about it for me, why I take these two runes. Then of course, logically, we take Sweet Tooth just for the extra sustain lane in terms of health and mana. And for the spells, obviously we go for Flash, and then it's either heal or barrier. If your support has heal, take barrier. If they don't have barrier, take heal. So that's pretty much it for the items, the runes, and the spells. Now we can actually move on to the gameplay. Alright, so here we have the gameplay itself. And now as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And any questions you guys have, place them in the comments and I will be responding to them to help you guys out. But anyways, as I said already, but if you guys have missed it out because you guys jumped to the gameplay, disclaimer, I am not the best Draven, and I'm not even, in my opinion, I'm not even a good Draven. I just like to pull out the Draven in ranked from time to time just for the fun of it, because I did spam Draven when he was released. Like I was a one-trick Draven for a while, but like that a while was like a few weeks. Then I decided that I didn't like one-tricking champions, and I just like to play every champion, and yeah, I just moved on to other champions. So it's really hard to be good at Draven if you're not a Draven one-trick, because Draven is a very specific champion. Like you have to be constantly in practice. I mean, you can be good at Draven without being a one-trick, but you have to play him at least a significant amount and quite regularly to maintain your skill level on Draven, which I do not. So I think I'm like maybe a little bit above average on Draven. Probably, definitely not great, probably not good. But anyways, as you can see, the main strategy you want to have when you're Draven is aggression, but not over-aggression. Because if you think that you can definitely kill people, sometimes that is true, but majority of times it is actually not, and you're normally overestimating your power, which is a mistake I commonly make. So if you make that mistake, you're gonna become the enemy's kill instead of killing them. So you want to be aggressive, you want to step up, and you want to auto-attack them, something like this, whenever you can, but you don't want to just go all in on them like all the time. You want to get out this spells. Like here, I got out Zaya's barrier, I got out Braum's shield. So now we know that, you know, Braum's shield is down for the next like couple of seconds, Zaya doesn't have barrier, that kind of thing. So you want to be aggressive and get something out of your enemy, like be it a spell, be it, you know, one of their skills, or you just want to get something out of it. Or even if you don't get anything, you want to, you know, make them scared of you. You want to just play aggressive, because Draven is the highest DPS champion, at least in the early game. So you always want to be aggressive, but you don't want to like overstep, and you just don't want to like be overly aggressive such that you die or you put yourself in a compromising position. Because one of the most common mistakes that Dravens make, aside from being over aggressive and getting yourself killed, is being over aggressive, over pushing the lane, and getting ganked by junglers and then getting killed, which same end result, you get killed, just that enemy team gets more KP and overall more gold, which is kind of even worse. So reasons why Dravens like to push is mainly because number one, you're aggressive. So if you don't manage to lock onto a enemy champion, you're gonna lock onto an enemy minion. So sometimes you end up inadvertently pushing. Other times you want to maintain your spinning axis and therefore you push. So sometimes that's a good idea, like if you're gonna get into a fight real soon and you need like double spinning axis and maintain. But sometimes it's okay to just let your axis reset and you just press Q again and get your axis spinning again. So sometimes that really isn't an issue. So sometimes you do want to avoid that. Like you don't want to just blindly push because you want to keep your axis spinning or because you want to stack more. And yeah, another reason why you might over push is just to get more stacks on your passive itself, because obviously the more you push, the more your axes are going to fly and the more times you can pick them up, and therefore the more stacks you can get for your passive. So sometimes that is the case. So here, this is where I go a little bit over aggressive. I thought I could get the kill on the Xayah, but unfortunately one of the mistakes happens where I'm pushed up a little bit too far. One more auto attack would have killed the Xayah, but the Vi was in the area and the Vi ulted me, and therefore I died. So if the Vi didn't show up there, I would have killed the Xayah and I would have died. And honestly, trading 1-for-1 on Draven, if you get the kill before the enemy, is worth, because you can cash in your stack. So overall, you would be gaining more than them. But if you trade 1-for-1 and you die after them, it's not worth anymore. And obviously, the worst case scenario here is you straight up just die and you don't even trade onto them. So, pretty much a horrible start for Draven. Now, what I will say is that a lot of times Draven lanes are determined by whether you get the first kill or you get the first death. And in this case, I got the first death. So really the lane is not looking very good for me because I don't have a snowball and I can't really exert my dominance onto the enemy team. And even if I do manage to get a kill, I'm going to be getting a lot less gold than what I should have gotten if I got the first kill. But you know, it is what it is, and not every match is going to be perfect where you get a first kill or you get a kill in lane. I have had a lot of Draven games where I go into the mid game like 0-0 and 0 or like 0-0 and 2, like I don't manage to get a kill. Like we get kills in lane but the kill goes to the support, like whether on purpose or by accident. But there are a lot of games where you end up going into the mid game either with no kills and no deaths, or like no kills and like some deaths. So of course not every game is going to be perfect, not every game is going to be optimal, but you know, we work with what we have. Here we get a kill, cash in the goal, and nearly double what we actually get from the passive itself. So here we get, actually we don't get ulted, but we get Irelia ulted. We don't get Vi ulted, we get Irelia ulted. Either way we die. So in this scenario it's not the worst because we did get a kill before we die, so we cashed in all our stacks already. As you guys saw, we got nearly 350 gold, so we nearly doubled the kill goal that we got. So it's really not the worst case in the world. Obviously, ideally we don't die. Nobody likes dying, but we are fine here. As we cashed in our kill goal before we died, so it's not so bad to look at things right on the brighter side. So we're 1 and 2 at the moment, so not the hottest kill score for a Draven, but you know, we're doing fine. In an overall perspective, like we're actually not doing fine. Like my team is doing pretty bad. Like it's 2 kills to 7 at the moment, so my team not doing too hot. But you know, Draven, I wouldn't say it doesn't really have any late game insurance. He's full on an early game champion, so you have to sort of get advantages early game. So here I'm really trying my hardest to do what I can. The enemy team goes with the Rift Herald, which normally equips to first tower, but they've left their top lane tower undefended. So what I'm instead gonna do is I'm gonna just focus the tower. So here, the auto target actually forces me to attack the minions before I actually manually target back to the tower. And the 2 auto attacks that I gave to the tower and these 2 minions allowed the Braum to actually catch up to me and ult me and get his passive on me, and Xayah gets the kill on me. So really, that was my fault. Like, it wasn't because I was playing Draven that I made that mistake, but honestly could have happened to any ADC where instead of attacking the tower, I attacked the minions by mistake, and it really cost me that precious like few seconds that if I had like auto attack that 4 less times, I definitely would have escaped scot-free. But instead I actually get punished for pushing for first tower, which shouldn't have been the case. So that was really a needless death by me. I'm really screwing up big time here, especially because on Draven, it's a lot more important to not die compared to a lot of other ADCs because you really need to snowball on Draven to do well. But anyways, I thought that this video was very good to actually show off in my updated complete guide, because I want to show off how you can still do well on Draven even if you're not like hyper fed. Like really, we all know that if Draven gets like 3 kills in the laning phase, he's just gonna snowball out of control. Like 2 or 3 auto attacks is gonna kill any enemy that he encounters, and he just has a very easy game. So really, we all know that that's a fact. Like if I show you like a game where I get 3 kills, then it becomes like 5 kills, then it becomes like a 10-0 kind of game, or like let's say I die after getting 10 kills. Like it really doesn't matter at that point in time. Like the game is basically won like when you like get 3 kills in laning phase. Anyways, here we managed to catch out the Diana who over pushed the mid tower. So I'm making my mistake, but like in mid instead of top. So here it allows us to actually take the mid tower for ourselves. And yeah, so I really thought this was a very good gameplay to show off, just because of how badly I do at the very beginning. Here I desperately try to trade onto the Vi or onto the Xayah before I die, but you know, it doesn't really work out, and I die before I manage to get a kill. So again, the not very optimal scenario happens where you die and you don't trade a kill. So really, I'm like 2 and 4 I believe at the moment, so not doing too hot. But Galio randomly recalls in the middle of mid lane. But you know, Galio's cleaning house. He's bringing our team bringing it back for our team, so really not too much to complain about. Of course, in terms of goal, the two teams are still relatively even. I try to ult straight down the lane to see if I can pick up anything right from when I spawn. Nothing too much comes of it. But you know, sometimes Draven ult, of course, the best case scenario is you use it to snipe out a low health enemy, whether be it from a fight you just had or be it from an existing fight. But you know, you can also try to use it to steal objectives, or sometimes just get off some damage and just start the fight. So really, kind of basic ways to use Draven ult. It's not as complicated as, you know, a Senna ult or like a Jinx ult or something. It pretty much is pretty much just the same thing. Like, it's just a global ultimate that you can use. So yeah. Alright, so here we're trying to rotate to the mid lane, see if we can get anything done with our numbers. We have 4 people in the mid lane. I was thinking that somebody should just engage onto like the 2 of them and we can just gang up on them and possibly get a kill or 2. But nothing really happens, and instead the enemy team sets down the Rift Herald at bot. So here you guys can see Vi and Irelia are pushed up all the way to the 2nd tier tower, so we have to punish this. Me and Galio are on the case. So here we're headed down. I'm trying to get into range to auto attack somebody. And here I'm onto the Irelia, and we do get the kill on the Irelia. We clear off the Rift Herald before it goes into the 2nd tier tower. Here I don't know where the Vi is, so I just randomly throw my ult straight down the lane because I thought she might be in the bushes recalling, but turns out she's actually in her blue side jungle. So really kind of wrong on that one, but yeah. So here I was thinking the Vi just recalled, so we can maybe try to go for a Rift Herald play and a Pantheon can come over, but you know, the Diana shows up, so I'm like, okay, that's not a very good idea, so I'm gonna back it up a little bit and let my team come and back me up. So here my team is in the dominant position. Nice engage and taunt by the Galio into the Fizz ultimate. Galio with the knockup onto the Xayah, and Diana comes back in for some reason. I die and my whole team ends up dying. Here, Fizz is the last one left standing, and he gets hit by the Vi Q, and my whole team dies, and we get aced. So really, this game is going to be a tough one. So really interesting game to show off in my complete guide. We're 3-5-3 at the moment. We have Bloodthirster, we have Infinity Edge, and we have our Stasis with the plated steel caps. So in terms of item breakpoints, we're doing relatively alright, but in terms of like KDA and like just in general, like not doing too hot. Like, I want to show you guys that with Draven, it's still possible to have a, I wouldn't say it's a horrible early game, but I would say it's not the optimal dominant early game where you're gonna just steamroll the enemy team in the mid game. But we have like a relatively even early game, and we're like kind of slightly behind as well. So I want to show you guys that even with this kind of game, Draven can still carry and you can still do well on Draven. Of course, this is not the optimal setup for Draven. The optimal setup for Draven is you crush your lane, you're 3-0 from your lane, you cashed in like a lot of stacks of your adoration passive, and you're of course super duper fat. Like, you're at 3 items when people just completed that first item kind of story because of Draven's insane goal. But you know, not every match is a fairy tale. So some matches just don't go so well. Some matches like these, that like this one that I'm showing you. So here we're gonna see what we can do about it and see how me and my team can attempt to bring it back. There's like a 7k or 6k goal difference between me, my team and the enemy team already at this point, so we are relatively far behind. The only saving grace that we have is the Xayah is kind of going for a not too good build. The Essence Reaver not really the build for Xayah anymore, so that is sort of a good saving grace for the team. And yeah, so here it looks like a team fight is about to break out. The Vi goes in on me, and I try to ult the entire enemy team and try to get us some damage. Here my team goes in, I'm trying to pick up the fruit, and I am trying to join the fight here. Stasis comes out from the Diana, and they're all relatively low, so I really want to like kill somebody. I'm trying my best. I get the kill onto Diana, get the cash in, and I'm gonna flash for it. Honestly, I thought the Fizz was part of the enemy team. I'm gonna flash for it to kill 2 people, but I end up flashing for it and killing the Xayah. The Vi comes in and cleans up some kills, but we get her afterwards. So overall, my team won that fight. So we did pretty well there, and we can push and possibly try to attempt to get the mid lane tier 2. So honestly, we did what we can for that fight, and here Braum shows up, trying to get the tower. There we go, tower picked up. And I tried to be a bit aggressive onto the Braum, but the Braum really doesn't take a lot of damage because he is very tanky and he has his shield up. So that's why I say I do believe that Draven needs to build armor penetration, because you're not going to be doing any damage, not any significant damage against characters like Braum, Alistar, and like other tanks, Malphite maybe. Here, Pantheon calls for Baron. I think it's an alright decision. Like, enemy has very low time to respond, but Pantheon gets destroyed by the Baron, and we don't do it nearly as fast as we thought. So kinda doesn't really work out. Like, everybody's low other than me, and you know, I can't really tank the Baron because I'm probably gonna. Actually, I don't even know if I'll die to it eventually because I do have Bloodthirster, so. But regardless, we cut the Baron, we go back, we pick up the Solari Charge Blade, we pick up the Executioner's Calling, of course building towards Moral Reminder. Here Pantheon wisely gives me the red buff because obviously by this point in time Pantheon is kind of falling off, and I'm doing pretty alright in the team. Pantheon 2, 4, and 2, I'm doing better. I'm 6, 5, and 4 now, so I'm back to a positive KDA, so we are kind of slowly clawing our way back into the game. And so here, we're at the usual lull stage of the game. I'm just trying to stack my passive, trying to find any farm I can. It looks like mid lane is going to have a wave, so I'm heading forward, just going to clear up that mid lane wave, trying to get my stacks up, trying to get my last hits. And yeah, much like any other ADC, of course you always want farm. Here I'm just maintaining my spinning axis using the plan for that. Here we attempt to set up a trap, and we see Vi walking towards us, but it turns out she's going the other direction. So Nami throws out her bubble, and nothing too much comes of it because really no one is walking into where we are setting the trap. Here instead Diana engages, Vi engages, and Vi is pretty much 1v5 at this point in time. Diana, I'm sorry, is 1v5 at this point in time. She manages to actually flash out. And here I'm of course going for the high priority target, which is the Xayah. Managed to almost insta-burst her. Zhonya's and ults keeping her alive for her, and Pantheon actually manages to pick up the kill onto her. So here, my entire team engaging onto the Irelia. I don't believe I even got a hit onto the Irelia before she died. My axe was still flying in the air when she died. So here, we find the entire enemy team. I disrupt them with the stand aside. Vi tries to ult, but she dies before her ult even manages to connect. Not sure if that will cause her ult to go on cooldown or not. There's something interesting that I haven't really thought about. Is that if she casts it, she's in the animation and she dies, does her ult go on cooldown? I'm not too sure about that. Anyways, we are going onto the Baron. Of course, golden opportunity to pick up the Baron with only the Braum left alive. Nothing much the Braum can do. So here, we're just going to pick up the Baron. I'm just going to recall and pick up our Moral Reminder. So at this point in time, actually we don't have enough to pick up Moral Reminder. We're going to pick up the last Whisper. So at this point in time, we have Baron buff. We're pretty strong, 6, 5, and 7. But of course, you know, whenever you play Draven, you have to have a sense of urgency, because the later on in the game that you get, the more and more people outscale you, because you don't have very good scaling at all if you look at like his scalings on all his abilities. So here, Dragon is up. Of course, going for Dragon is a good idea. Here we crit for like 722 on one auto attack. Pretty insane if you ask me. So here we get a nice engage by the Pantheon, follow up by the Nami wave. I'm trying to auto attack anybody. Here I try to get the kill onto the Diana. She's a little bit out of reach, so I gotta flash forward to pick up the kill onto Diana. In the meantime, my team is kind of getting destroyed without me and Pantheon there. But we are back into the fold, and I'm getting destroyed by Irelia. Like, her attack speed is just insane, and how tanky she is just insane. I'm not sure if that was like Death's Dance or Starrick's Gauge that caused her to be that tanky, but I really feel like I was doing no damage to her. Let's check out what she has. So she has Death's Dance, so looks like the Death's Dance is really absorbing a lot of my damage. And you know, it does eventually go through, but it does take a little bit more time with the Cauterized passive on the Death's Dance. So regardless, we pick up the Moral Reminder. We're gonna build towards the Guardian Angel. Of course, I'm actually going for the armor component, the like chain vest component of the GA first instead of the BF sword, because we already have enough damage. We kind of need a little bit more survivability. Of course, the GA's armor is very useful against the Xayah, the Irelia, as well as the Vi. So here we pick up another death for 6, 7, and 8 at the moment. Not like the hottest KDA, but really a competitive match that we're having here. So of course we do still want to try to end the game as soon as we possibly can, because Draven of course is gonna fall off more and more and more, and gonna get outskilled by everybody in the game. So we do want to quickly end the game. Here I'm just gonna pick up the red buff. I'm gonna clear out the minion wave in the bot lane. Really basic stuff, a lot of minions here to pick up, a lot of free gold, and most of my team are in mid lane just clearing out the waves, and no major objectives are up at the moment, so nothing too much to fight for. most of the enemy team will probably be just clearing waves as well. Here, there's sort of like a mini fight breaking on the mid lane. I throw my ult to just get off some damage to help my team out as fast as possible. Pantheon goes on the rampage and takes out the Braum. I don't want to walk into the Irelia ult, so I'm going to actually go around the ult. And by which time, the fight is basically over. So I'm just going to help my team push out. Fizz playful tricksters away the Irelias. I believe it's called the Flawless Duet. The Irelia E and doesn't actually get hit by the stun. Here I'm just juggling my axes and clearing minions at the same time. And here, Irelia kind of caught out of position. I'm not going to make the same mistake as the last time. I'm going to focus the Irelia together with the Nami and make sure that she dies. There we go, we popped her GA. And of course we're going to go for the kill onto the Irelia. There she goes. There she goes. There, Irelia is gone. And Xayah and Diana managed to live with like 1 HP because we can't actually catch up to them, which is kind of unfortunate. So instead we're just going to retreat because only me and Nami are left alive together with Levi and the Diana on the other team. So two members left alive per side. Baron is of course spawning, so Nami's going to put down the ward at Baron. We're going to recall, pick up our GA. So at this point we have GA up, we have the Zhonya's Hourglass up, we have both Flash and Heal up, so we have everything up. So it's a really good time to fight, win the fight, and possibly end the game if we at all possible now. Of course, this is a replay, so I'm looking at the game time. I see that there's about 1 minute left, so I do assume that we're about to get into a fight and win the fight. So here, I'm waiting for an opportunity to steal the Baron Nasher. I'm just panning over. I'm going to pan over to take a look at the Baron. I'm timing it. And if you saw in the background, my whirling death went to Narnia. So I was so focused on timing when I should release my ultimate that I end up shooting my ultimate in the completely, I won't say completely wrong direction, but by like a mile off the Baron pit. Thankfully, Nami manages to hit the Baron and get the steal. Alright, so anyways, kind of lucky on that one. But yeah, so here we do actually have the fight where we do actually win the fight. Xayah, very nice ult to cancel the Fizz ultimate. The Xayah player is actually having pretty sick Xayah ultimate. But anyway, Xayah's time has run out. She's gonna die. There we go, picking up the kill onto the Vi and the Xayah. So anyways, there we have the victory. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the Draven guide. Hopefully it did help you guys for those people who are picking up Draven. So we're gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you guys for watching the video and goodbye.